Thank you very much for joining me. How you been? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Back. Steve Renazizi. I'm the guy. I'm the guy. Fucking lit. I'm the guy. Steve Renazizi. Lit. I'm the guy. I'm the guy. Fucking lit. I'm the guy. Steve Renazizi. What's the odds? What's the odds? What's the odds? What's the odds?
Hey everybody, welcome back to What's the Odds with Steve Renazizi. Coming in hot, not as hot as Maui, but we'll get to that. I'm joined by Lucas and Brenton. Thank goodness we're all here. Lucas is a little bit late. We were going to start this about 10 minutes ago, but you thought it was 1 o'clock your time, 10 a.m. my time, correct? And I'm, of course, on the East Coast, and that's impossible. But it wouldn't be if I was in Maui, which is where Brenton is supposed to be going in two weeks from now. Am I right, Brenton?
About 2 weeks, yeah. We were going to go, no longer.
Yeah, and we were going to do this podcast a day early. So whenever you're listening to this, just think that everything we thought and say, we're supposed to say the day before you hearing it now. So, but we didn't because Brenton had to scramble yesterday. He was scrambling more than who was the most sacked quarterback last year? I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Kirk Cousins got beat up pretty good.
Yeah.
Probably, though, Matt Stafford. He got hit so much that he lost his season.
Yep. So Brenton, that was Matt Stafford, Brenton yesterday, bouncing around airlines trying to. So explain, for those of you who don't know, of course you know by now, Maui is on fire. It's terrible. It's a beautiful island. I didn't know that, I thought there was so much moisture. I've been there. And actually I went to Lahaina when my wife and I got married. I was still shooting this show for ABC. And so our wedding was Saturday and we only had 4 days off after. So we were going to go to Greece, but we tabled that so we had some more time and we went to Maui for 4 days. So we went and we had a great time at the hotel. You know, after a couple of days, you're like, let me just get out and see some areas. So we were staying at the Four Seasons Maui, went down to Lahaina. They were doing this Taste of Lahaina, beautiful little town right off of the road there. They had all these food trucks out, ate tremendous amount of food, shopped all the local stores, and it was beautiful. And now it's fucking gone. And they're not equipped at all to have the amount of fire that they're having. And I didn't even think it was possible.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, it's the road to Hana, it's at some point it's all just tropical forest, all wet. Your clothes get wet. The road to Hana coming down to, the Hakalaki, whatever that thing is, the mountain, you take the bike down, or you can take a kayak, whatever you take down. It's all wet. It feels like it always gets wet around there. It's very, it's an island. So I didn't think it was possible, but then again, what the fuck do I know? So it's bad, isn't it, Brenton?
Yeah, when we went on our honeymoon a couple of years ago, Maui was the last island we went to, and we had gone to Kauai before that, known as the Garden Island. Very, very lush, very green, and we were kind of taken back, driving from the airport to our hotel. Everything, it looked like Los Angeles. Everything was brown and dead. So there are parts in Hana where it's a rainforest and you think it's moist all the time, but it's actually really dry. And then you couple that with Lahaina was a bunch of very old wooden buildings, and apparently the entire island's firefighting crew was fighting a wildfire that started first. So then when Lahaina caught fire, they were already out there and they had no way to communicate to get them to come back. So it's basically just lighting a match on a bunch of dry wood and no one there to stop it.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but can we got to get helicopters out? Don't they have those helicopters that can scoop down, grab water, and then dump it on the fucking fires?
I don't know if they know the exact cause.
You got unlimited resources.
Yes, you do, but the problem was they believe the fire started because there was a hurricane that's passing the island and winds knocked down power lines and started the fires. The winds were way too powerful for helicopters to fly in for several days. So they're doing it now, but there was nothing they could do. They basically were defenseless, and to the point where people are jumping in the ocean to escape the flames. And it's heartbreaking because Lahaina was our favorite part of the island. The best meal I ever had in my life was at the Lahaina Grill, which I believe, they haven't they've only been posting about, can you help us find our staff? And here's a GoFundMe to donate to. But I have to imagine it was right there in the line of fire that it's probably gone. And like we got some art at the Weiland Gallery there. That's probably gone. I had a great meal at Mick Fleetwood's place. And on the lower level, there was this amazing rock photography gallery. That's probably gone. So it's heartbreaking that and the banyan tree, that giant banyan tree, beautiful.
They think that's gonna make it. They think
Okay, that's good. But you know, it's tragic because those people they were the nicest people, and it was just such a beautiful place, and it was like living in a dream when we were there.
Yeah, beautiful
So
area.
it really sucks, and we were looking forward to going back, and obviously we don't want to be going there right now with they need the hotels to use as shelters for people who lost their homes, and we don't want to bog them down with just being there to be there. So we had to
So you're not
scramble
gonna
and
go.
we had to
You're gonna go
scramble
somewhere
and
else.
change plans. Yeah. And I will say Hawaiian Airlines is amazing, very nice. Obviously, they know what's going on. They're very aware of it. American Airlines can go fuck themselves. Uh,
Whoa, big sponsor of the podcast. Hold on.
well, you know what? I don't want them on the show anymore.
Okay.
Get them out.
What happened to American Airlines?
They wouldn't let us reroute our flight. And I'm like, the flight's not going to happen. And well, according to our system, the flight is still going to happen. They don't want us to come to that island. They're saying, you know, don't come here. So we can't.
Yeah.
So you're telling me you're going to take off an empty plane from Maui to LAX. According to our system, that's what we're planning on doing. So, yeah. So now I got my 70-plus-year-old parents taking a red eye back to LA because American doesn't care. They look, and this isn't about us. We made the plans in February. We didn't know this was going to happen. So I'm not trying to make this about us, but the fact that they're not being even an inch of flexible and they're trying to maximize the amount of money they can get out of everybody is kind of gross. Whereas Hawaiian was like, yes, we're going to cancel these flights and refund them, and we'll help you in any way you need and whatever you want. So it was just a very different experience.
I can't believe there's been no like leaked footage. I'm sure there's been people that's been like, I'm still going, and I like that's a you problem.
I'm sure
like,
there will be. Yeah.
Is the Four Seasons still up and running, and you know, like are the Cabana boys still out there putting towels out there? Well, then I'll be out there.
Yeah.
I'll you know, I'm used to smoke. I live in New York. It's not a big deal. I'm sure that there are people that are like, this is my vacation that I've saved my entire life for, and I'm fucking going. As a matter of fact, I watched this documentary.
That's the position, though, Steve. That's the position that,
dude,
all the Hawaiian companies that I've dealt with immediately, yes, here we'll cancel this, we'll refund. Thank you for doing that. We can't take in people right now, but all the like the mainland, like American Airlines, those types of companies were like, we don't care. So these people that did use their life savings to pay for these trips, like I totally get, like you're really in a rock and a hard place where they're not going to be flexible. They're not going to let you change dates. They're not going to give you your money back. So what do you do? I mean, we had no control over this. It's just a horrible nightmare situation.
It's an act of God. Yeah. People don't care, dude. I watched this documentary on Netflix. I can't remember the name of it offhand right now. I think it's Aftershock, whatever, but it was about the earthquake in Nepal while people were like, you know, and it was coming from three different perspectives. It was one from the people that were like in the mid-summit trying to climb Everest. There was a town that was like, you know, 15, 20 miles away, and there were a couple people down there. And then the main town of, I don't remember the fucking main town, like that you fly into and the airport, like what was going on there. And, you know, there were people obviously in the mid trying to climb or summit Mount Everest. And this tremendous earthquake happens, avalanche. People, you know, there's dead bodies everywhere. People don't know. It's mass chaos. And just as like it starts to settle in that part where people are like, all right, triage over there. This guy goes, well, you know, once people started understanding their duties, I still wanted to climb to the top. I had saved up my entire life. Yeah. And I could see the path, and it's like I'm never getting this close ever again. It takes $40,000 to get to this point, and this is it. And I'm going to go up. And people had to literally like stop him from going. like he was going to go, and people were like thinking about going with him. And I was like, this is unbelievable. Like, and I understand at the point, like where you're like, this is all ever, but like, when something like this happens, you have to kind of take a pause and go, all right, let me, maybe this is not about me for this one moment, but not here, dude, and not in American Airlines.
No. And look,
I got a good.
I know the majority of our audience is not blue collar. We have high end people, but I will say, please, I know it's very annoying,
I
but
know.
if you're taking your yacht to Maui this weekend, just let the captain know. Let's reroute to Kauai. It's a beautiful island as well. Just don't go to Maui, please.
Here's a great spot you can go to. I was just telling Brenton before you got on, Lucas, that there's the most exclusive golf course in the world is opening up in North Korea. It's they're going to have, and surprisingly, they're going to open it up to a golf tournament to show this course off to, like, foreign golfers. They want to have a tournament, and it's in Pyongyang, where I guess is like the capital of North Korea. And what's interesting about this course is that it is the course. It's infamous because Supreme Leader Kim Jong Un, whatever the guy's name is, he apparently got 11 holes in ones there. 11. And so now they're going to have a tournament there, and let's see what the professionals can do. But so that, if you're interested in going to North Korea, it looks like a nice golf course, and it looks like pretty manageable. I was telling Brenton, I'm like, could you, like, if you got like 3 holes in one, like, no, do you think anyone's going to try to get 12 holes in ones there? First of all, no one's going to get any holes in ones, but I would love to see normal golfers go play this course and see what I want to know. I want to know the holes that Supreme Leader got the holes in ones on. They do have activities there. They have the world's largest indoor, I think it's the largest indoor skiing resort
in North Korea.
It's indoor. Yeah, indoor skiing resort. Look it up if you can. I don't want to get you in trouble, Lucas. Don't get fucking, I don't want to put you on any list. I know there's one in the Middle East, but I think this one is like am I right about that?
Yeah, it says North Korea and Siberia.
Yeah.
2 of the best vacation spots on planet Earth.
By the way, our good friend Ryan O'Neill asked, we do that ski trip with Ari every year, and he goes, let's go to North Korea. And for 1 second, Ari's like, that's interesting. And I'm like, how are we getting out of North Korea? Say we get in. Let's just say we get in to go ski. How and do you think that the 3 of us alone won't say anything that won't get us arrested and put immediately into North Korean prison? In what world do you think we're getting out? How much are lift tickets? Do they have season passes?
I don't mean to knock you guys. You're all wonderful performers, but I don't think our government's going to be trading for 3 comedians.
No, we're going on the Dennis Rodman comedy tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Rodman hosts, Ron Artest does the middle, and then me, Ari, and O'Neill, we back up the end. But now you got skiing. So North Korea is not that bad of a place. It might be better than fucking Maui. It might be better than Maui. At least you could ski and golf there. I'm just saying. Steve. It might be right now. You may want to think about it. I know. But trust me, I'll be looking at property in Maui real soon because the values, I understand tragedy, but there are silver linings. Lahaina might be actually affordable now to the rest of the world. Never forget. All right, let's move on. To the Jets, or do you want to go? Where do you want to go?
Don't you mean Aaron Rodgers? If we're talking, did you enjoy season 2 of The Quarterback? Because that's what Hard Knocks episode 1 was, and God help us if that's how the whole season's going to go. There are other players on that team.
I get the rookie.
He's a big story. You can lead with him, but the whole fucking episode.
They did have a first-round draft pick. How is he doing? What is happening?
Yeah.
Now, look, for a team that wasn't interested and was upset about the fact that they got chosen, they seemed to change that tune pretty quickly. It was like a game show. Yeah. It was like the Aaron Rodgers show. from the very, very beginning, right to the very end. So much so that Liev Schreiber seemed more nervous being part of the show that he's been part of the entire time than Aaron Rodgers was. You see what I'm saying? Like when he was there, like Liev Schreiber did not feel, it didn't look like he was comfortable. Like he felt like, I don't really belong. I don't know why I'm here. And Aaron's like, it's okay, dude. You're going to be fine. I mean, look, there's nothing to be nervous about if you're the man. What are you nervous about? There's no pressure on him. There isn't. The man's a Hall of Famer regardless. Okay. And it's not like he's got to go and learn he doesn't have to go try to impress a new coach. There's no impressing anyone. He's the person to be impressed. And he's got Nathaniel Hackett back, who he feels very, very obviously. That was the thing. He feels very comfortable with this guy. He feels like there's no nervousness about having to learn a system. The only thing he has to figure out is how fast his receivers are, and to get them in the spots that they belong in. That's it. That's the only thing he's got to figure out.
Well,
he knows all the play.
The offensive line has issues, so he's got to worry about his blind side and lasting the whole season at 40.
Well, I mean, but I'm saying, like, as far as those are all normal things that normal 40-year-old quarterbacks worry about for the most part. But he's not like Russell Wilson was last year, where it's like new coach, new system. What are we going to do? How's it going to be? There's none of that. And I don't know if it's the ayahuasca. It might be. I don't know if it's the dark room treatment. It's might be
darkness retreats.
And he might just be 100% douche, where it's like his charm and personality is sort of like, that's it. That's the way he is. And a lot of people like it. A lot of people, find it kind of charming in a way. I don't mind it, but that's his MO. He's going to be comfortable. If he's if it seems like he's uncomfortable, that's not his normal. Like being uncomfortable. He always seems to be uncomfortable. Remember, don't panic, guys. Don't panic. We're going to get there. It's going to be okay. So I'm surprised as to how much he took to the cameras and how much he made it about himself. But is he comfortable there? Yeah, he is. So, and I really wish I saw some other guy. And I think the Sauce Gardner thing was a little cool, the Canton thing and stuff, and him and what's his name, Garrett going at each other. The cameos at the practices. I mean, I like the Method Man one because I could tell he's a true Jets fan. The Liev Schreiber thing was funny. That was it. Like he's just a funny guy, and his awkwardness made me laugh. But the Jason Garrett thing didn't make sense. Why was he there? The Tiki Barber thing doesn't make any
Was that a dagger in your heart? Did you feel betrayed that he was?
No, because Tiki Barber cheated on his wife when she was pregnant. You don't think he's gonna fucking show up to whatever the fuck he wants to? You think, yeah, I'm not worried about where Tiki Barber's loyalties lie. But I'll say this: I did like the I did wait, hold on. What was I gonna say? The before Tiki Barber. I did like what was the thing that I liked before you said Tiki Barber? I can't remember it.
Was it Nathaniel Hackett or anything like that?
No, I like
Jason.
The Wilson back and forth. It's like I'll say this. I'm not saying this is going to change Wilson's career or trajectory. I don't know how good he is. I think it's an attitude adjustment more than it is a actual, physical adjustment, I think. But all these guys right now that have the quarterback success that you feel are the top guys, the three people that you talk about could be the greats of all time: Mahomes, Brady, fucking Aaron Rodgers. They all have this thing where they were drafted high and they backed up for a year or two someone else. Even Bledsoe backed up. He was supposed to be. Brady backed up Bledsoe, and he was supposed to be the backup. Only injury got him involved in that.
Mhm.
So these guys sat for a year or two under someone who really knew how to do it, who really knew how to manage a team and be a quarterback. Alex Smith, I mean, they all surpassed Alex Smith was a great quarterback. Drew Bledsoe was a great quarterback. Brett Favre was a great quarterback. All guys you would want to, learn something from. And so I think this will be good for Wilson. I think this watching him for a year or two. I don't know if it necessarily transforms into the but this is going to be good for him.
Yeah, I don't think he was ever a guy that was going to be elite, but he can at least be serviceable now.
Yeah. Yes, he will learn. I mean, if you cannot learn something in this year, hopefully, year or two that he is, then you're not fucking, then you're Johnny Manziel, bro. Did you watch
Yeah.
that?
I started it last night. Pretty interesting.
Zero tape. That was my favorite part. Zero tape. Professional quarterback.
Never read the playbook.
Didn't even open up his iPad.
But I mean, that was the Cleveland Browns game plan for years there before Stefanski got in. It was just, let's see what happens.
And also, what's his homeboy from Arizona, Cliff Kingsbury, is like, look, I mean, like, he showed up drunk, but that's, we let boys be boys. Like, I don't know. Anyway, so that's.
But before we jump off, I do want to say
Yeah.
this is why I don't like Jets fans, and you guys have the memory of a squirrel. Because last season, not even a year ago, in October, you went into Green Bay and you kicked the crap out of the Packers, and Sauce Gardner put the cheese on his head, and every Jets fan and their mother was talking about how washed Aaron Rodgers was. And now he's wearing a Jets uniform and he's the savior. And he is definitely an upgrade from Zach Wilson. Like he's a solid quarterback, but he is 40 and his numbers have been declining for several years now. So it's Brett Favre all over again, and they don't see it. They're all idiots.
No, that's a bad take. He's not Brett Favre. He's much, much, much better than Brett Favre was when Brett Favre got there. Brett Favre was a risk taker and a gunslinger who, when you lose a step, that those decisions look dumb. Those decisions make you look like Baker Mayfield when you're Brett Favre. Brett Favre, when he got to the Jets, was like Baker Mayfield.
Aaron Rodgers' interception rate was the highest of his career.
Okay.
And it has been going up for several years. All the good stats, the quarterback rating, the completion percentage, touchdowns, etc., they've been going down the last few years.
How did he do the last year he played with Nathaniel Hackett? Can you remind me of that? What were the numbers that year?
Okay,
I think they ended up to
deeper
what's that
into
number?
the
MVP?
Numbers, if you look
MVP?
deeper into and they didn't win the Super Bowl. One and done, out. If you look into those numbers,
I understand that.
He was throwing touchdowns from inside the 10-yard line. His numbers were all inflated. If he had handed off half of those, he's not even close to MVP.
Brenton, if Aaron Rodgers can do half to 3/4 of the year that he had the last time he played with Nathaniel Hackett, with probably better weapons, I would say.
But his offensive line, I'm telling you. So this is what's going to be.
They did have Devonta Adams. That's different. So maybe not better weapons.
I'm talking about offensive line. I'm not talking about weapons. Yeah, he's got good weapons. I'm not arguing that. Okay. But this guy is 40. He's not going to be able to move. He's going to look like Tom Brady in the pocket, not going to be able to move like he used to. And week 1, he's got Buffalo on Monday Night Football, pretty good edge rushers. They're going to put pressure on him. He could get banged up. Week 2, he's got Dallas. They're one of the better rushing teams in the league.
Yeah.
So he could be injured by week 3 and not even playing.
First of all, I don't wish that upon anyone. But secondly,
that's the issue that they didn't do. They went and got him, and then they went and got all the players that he wanted them to get, and they spent all this money. They needed to fix the offensive line, and they didn't do that.
Oh, look, I mean, they're going to piece it together. They're going to make something where they will figure it out. But they don't need him to have that year, dude. They just need him to have, a normal Brett Favre year. And their team will look what they had last year. quarterback-wise, versus what they now have with the same team. Better, just as good defensively, better weapons. You have arguably one of the best young defensive players besides Micah Parsons in the league, shutdown corners. They're going to have more opportunities to score, but they don't need him to do everything on every play. But when they need him to be Aaron Rodgers, he can be Aaron Rodgers still. And that's the difference. That's a big difference. So I'm not saying it's going to be guaranteed Super Bowl. They're in murderer's row as far as like a division, a conference, the whole thing. I'm not saying it, but this is not Brett. This is not Brett Favre part 2.
Well,
this is not. I mean, unless he gets injured, God forbid.
Let's play it again. You sound like Jets fans, where it's like, oh, this is all fixed now. No, we have to see him play.
No.
We watched him on the sideline. He just stood there in his T-shirt with a smile, making jokes about what's his face singing the national anthem. I want to see him play. Let's see him play. He can make all the no-look passes in practice with the red jersey on that he wants to, but let's see him play with this offense.
Okay. Well, Buffalo's going to get a look.
Yeah. Buffalo.
How are you guys doing, by the way? How are you guys doing? What has happened? I know you know. And I have a whole different perspective because my son Jackson's he's like you now, Brenton. I mean, he got pissed at me. I watched a full preseason game and a half yesterday. At halftime of the second game, it was midnight. I'm like, I'm going to bed. He's like, you're not going to watch the second half? I'm like, I know, I'm not. He's like, did you see camp today? I go, what camp? The Giants camp. I go, no, I'm not. How do you see camp? I'm in my house. Where are you? So he's all over it. I go by no news is good news. Show me highlights. I love to see Instagram videos.
Just don't.
I want to hear about problems.
No one get hurt.
I want to hear about. Yes, but that's it. If I open up ESPN and I see Giants in New York Giants, it's not great. I know. I don't even want to read the rest of it. I don't want to read the rest of it. No news is good news in the preseason. Get through it. So that's how I like it like that.
As a fantasy player, I try not to read headlines in training camp because if you did, don't touch Joe Burrow now because he's hurt, but he's been hurt every training camp. And then 2 years ago, the most ridiculous thing was, do you remember they were saying Jamar Chase had hand issues in camp? He said something about the NFL football felt different, so he was dropping passes, and so everybody was off him, and then he just destroyed everything. So it's better just to not really pay attention other than to injuries and to significant signings. But even the depth chart, Atlanta listed Bijan Robinson as 3rd on the depth chart. So that'll make people go, well, he's not going to start. It's obviously he's going to start. None of that matters until week 1.
I like what Vrabel did. He handed the reins over to somebody else for the week. Let somebody else be the head coach. He's going to let one of his assistants, for real, he's going to let one of his assistants coach the game, which I think is a good move.
Yeah.
To kind of go, hey, these guys are capable of doing this job if you let them. Obviously not when it fucking counts, but I'm going to let you do it in a preseason game. So, I mean, I'll watch other teams. I like to see what other teams are doing and stuff, but I don't want to hear anything about the Giants as far as headlines or big stuff or anything like that. Everyone's doing their job. No one's getting hurt, and that's all I want to know about.
Yeah.
Who do you guys think, based on what you've heard so far, because I have a thought on this, who do you think is going to be this year's Jacksonville Jaguars? I mean, a team that was not in the playoffs last year, big turnaround, and can kind of make some noise maybe late in the season, whenever they start. Either they start hot but they make the playoffs and they can kind of get, and maybe not win a playoff game like the Jaguars did, but get into the playoffs when no one's really looking at them. Because I don't remember a lot of people. I think last year, obviously it was going to be better. Everyone knew the Jaguars were going to be better than what fucking homeboy Ohio State left them with. So you knew they were going to be better, but you didn't know that this team could actually sneak into the playoffs. Who do you think that team is this year?
Go ahead, Lucas, because that's the easiest question for me.
It's Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh.
That's a good one.
I mean, I'm in the same division. I think it's Baltimore.
I think it's Denver.
Okay. Well, I mean, look, by the way, we're all in the AFC. And I don't know if it's because I said Jaguars and our mind just went to the AFC, but we're all in the AFC. I mean, I could have said Detroit, but they didn't make the playoffs. But we're all in the AFC.
Well,
That's
that was
how
the
fucking hard the
stipulation.
AFC
Teams
is.
that didn't make the playoffs last year. That's what you said. So
Yeah.
Denver. I mean, Denver had a Super Bowl caliber defense last year. They have weapons on offense. Javonte Williams got hurt. That sucked. I think Judy missed some time too, if I'm not mistaken. And then Nathaniel Hackett did
Yeah.
one of the worst head coaching jobs in history. Now you get Sean Payton coming in.
By the way, look, do you want to talk about that for a second? I didn't like that. You know, that's
Peyton shouldn't have said anything. That was kind of classless.
Yeah.
And there's kind of an unspoken brotherhood in the league and amongst the players and the coaches. So that was really, especially since it was completely unprovoked.
$10 says he was boozed to the fucking hilt when he said it.
Yeah, maybe. But
speaking,
and they play. When do they play? It's like week 6 or something. The Jets and the Broncos. They
Sure.
do play this year, so that'll be a fun one to circle and watch. But I really like Denver a lot, and I think hearing that Russell Wilson put on muscle and he got rid of all of his like special perks and basically is on board with how Sean Payton's going to run his team. I really, really like the Broncos, even though they're in probably the second hardest division in football. I think they could squeeze in as like a 5 or 6 seed.
My two teams that I was going to mention, obviously I said the Ravens, but the other team was the Browns. And with what you said, Lucas, Pittsburgh, I think, how crazy is that division? I mean, you got Burrow who's hurt. You got a team in Pittsburgh that you think could really turn a corner. I mean, I got my best friend here. They went to Pittsburgh camp, and he's like, because I told him what I told him what I said to you guys. I go, I think Baltimore is going to have, and I go, I think Cleveland is another team where it's like, I don't know I haven't heard anything about Deshaun Watson, but no news as far as Deshaun Watson to me is
That's
good
great
news because you would only hear like this guy has lost it. You would be hearing that if that was going on. That's what it would be coming out of the press, but I don't hear anything.
And Watson, go back and watch the last 2 weeks of the season. He actually was starting to look like himself again. He was kind of rusty the first 3 games, but those last couple, like he was looking really good. So now
they have probably the best running back or the top 3 running backs in the NFL.
Yeah, and they have one of the best offensive lines, so he's going to have plenty of time. And Chubb's going to have a lot of running room. And Amari Cooper's solid, dude.
Garrett on the defensive line is still a beast. So I mean, I'm not saying that. I think it's going to be interesting. I think that's going to be that's the best division. I feel like it's going to be the AFC West was last year.
Yes.
What's going to happen? That is what the most interesting to me. And that's Baltimore's the team I'm most excited to watch play because I think with the new offensive coordinator, spreading things out and just seeing what Lamar Jackson can do with being able to sit in the pocket and throw the ball a little bit more. You got a lot of talk. I don't know if you saw Odell Beckham. I mean, there's too much time. They ask him too many questions, but he apparently said, like, you have no idea what I was going to do in the Super Bowl. Remember the Super Bowl with the Rams where they beat the Bengals? He's like, I was going to score 2 or 3 more touchdowns, have 250 yards.
Oh, me too.
And 15 catches. He was like, I was going, that was the plan. He's like, that was actually the game plan. 15 to 20 touches, 250 yards, and more scores.
Yeah, me too.
And I think Tyler Boyd was like, yeah, shoulda, coulda, woulda. But anyway, healthy Odell Beckham, Zay Flowers, they got a lot of weapons too. And, the second, third best tight end.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with the completely different offense. How much they're running Lamar or how many broken plays, because Lamar, he's struggled throwing outside the numbers. He's got a lot of speed now on the outside. They don't really have like a big receiver. They're all kind of those smaller, faster slot guys. But depending on what the new offense looks like, it could be either really, really exciting, or by week 3, we could go, oh, this is bad, and they just overpaid Lamar. But their ceiling is they could go to the Super Bowl. They have that potential.
Yeah. I think I mean, look, the coaching's going to be great. Harbaugh knows how to coach a team,
He
take a team
does.
to a Super Bowl. So
Yes.
I feel like the defense, historically will end up being good. But I'm really interested to see. It's crazy how like you go like these former MVPs in that division. I want to see how they can play and what sort of steps Deshaun and Lamar, like what are they going? Are they going to be, sort of versions of what they were? Are they coming back in different forms all the way? I don't want to write these guys off because the talent they have. It was, I mean, Deshaun Watson's year that he won the MVP. What was it like? There wasn't even anyone close, I don't think, that year, right?
No,
They were scoring 35 points a game in Texas, and they went to the playoffs, and the defense let them down. Am I remembering this correctly?
I believe you're correct. And the thing with Deshaun, if he had been under any other coach that wasn't just a complete moron and they weren't selling off pieces, and then he obviously wasn't a horrible human being, if none of that had
Yeah.
happened, he would have been Patrick Mahomes before Patrick Mahomes was Patrick Mahomes. He was on that trajectory. Like he was putting up
Yeah.
Madden numbers and could do everything with his legs and his arm and was just ridiculous. And he kind of shot himself in the foot with all of the other off the field stuff. But I mean, if he had been drafted by the Chiefs and he was under Andy Reid and in that system, I mean, he's the guy we would all be talking about.
Yeah.
He didn't win an MVP though, right?
I thought he did.
No, I don't think he did. I'm looking right now. 2020, he probably came closest with his best stats. He was the NFL passing yards leader.
Who won MVP in 2020?
Question.
Wasn't it Aaron Rodgers? Didn't he win back to back?
Oh
Yes.
my God.
It was Rodgers.
And
That's
how many of
racist,
those
dude.
how many of those touchdowns were inside the 10-yard line, Aaron? Because Nathaniel Hackett would call a run play, and then you would go, fuck that, I'm changing it in the huddle, and then you'd run whatever you want. That's why you love Hackett. Because he just lets you do what you want.
Did anyone else find it a little strange Hackett's fascination with the movie Goldmember and call
Yeah. What?
the red zone the gold zone?
Yeah. And like each part was like a different, like a reference to like his, why he was gold and stuff like that. It was very strange. I mean, he seems like a weird fucking dude. Imagine like that's probably like the shit that Sean Payton heard about. Like he
Yeah.
probably structured the whole offense on Goldmember last year. Like the whole team structure was going to be based on that, and he thought it was like a silly sort of concept to like icebreaker to let the team into his personality. And Peyton was like, "What did he do? What?" And then that was it. That's all you got to hear, dude. But yeah, it is a very strange, like weird. It's not even a great movie. Goldmember is not even the best one out of all the Austin Powers.
It's the third best out of 3.
Yeah, like if he was like fat bastard get in my belly, like this is a fat bastard offense, that's like would even make more sense to me. But
Yeah.
the Goldmember thing, yeah, was a very weird, yeah, very strange. I'm trying to think of the others. There was like one or two other strange things that happened during the episode. What was he? Why did they flew fucking Liev Schreiber in a helicopter? Which I thought was like,
Well,
what is it, Donald Trump? Like what?
He explained that.
I thought they were
I
bringing
mean,
like the cast of Succession. When I said,
that's
I thought they were trying to do like some cross promo.
well, that's probably what happened. They probably were like, look, traffic's hell. We don't have a car right now, but Succession just wrapped their choppers. If we get Liev over to the east side of Manhattan,
I
we
mean,
can get him on a
yeah,
chopper to
maybe
Jersey.
HBO couldn't get a short-term rental on the helicopter, and they're like, we still have it for 6 more months. Let's use this.
I don't know. The chopper thing, whenever I see a chopper landing and people looking, I always think it's Trump getting out. For some reason, it just feels very Trump to me.
Mhm.
It always feels like, hello, I'm here. By the way, he got indicted again, guys. That's exciting, right? Another indictment, I guess it's worn off for you. It's
more
like
and he
the
gets a
fourth
free
Rocky
sub.
now. It's like the fourth Rocky now, and no one's really interested
Yeah.
in which one's going to stick. And fuck, just dropped my phone.
At what point does he keep getting arrested where it helps him?
Oh, it's already
Well,
helping him.
every
Dude,
time, dude.
He's going to be the next president.
Okay.
After the
He's
first
going to be
time,
president again.
after the first time he said something that he was like, I don't know if people are gonna like this, and they went crazy. He was like, "Oh, I'll never not say what I want or do what I want ever
Yeah.
again." So no, nothing. He could literally. He's 100% right. He could murder someone and completely blame somebody else or get away with it. So there's no more. That's it. You'll never. No one will ever. No one's going to put him in jail. No jail. Ever. His jail is going to be, I mean, he's going to die probably soon, in the next like 10, 15 years. There's no way it's, yeah, dude, he's not living to like not 100.
Well, no, I'm saying I think 10 or 15
There's no way.
years is
He's not
very
like one of those,
generous.
like,
Neither him or Biden are in great shape. And they live very
well,
high
Biden looks like an old
stress.
person, but
And Trump doesn't.
I feel like
Trump's
Trump's
wearing
just
a
gonna have
lot
like, no,
of makeup,
Trump,
and he's
no, I know, but
kind of
Trump's gonna
kind
have
of
a heart
obese
attack
and- yeah.
on the golf course. That's what's going to happen. But it's going to be quick and done. Like, you're going to be like, oh, that was it. Boom.
Mhm.
It's not going to be like, oh shit, you hear Trump got sick?
I don't think either one
It's
of
not
them.
going to be that.
If either one of them becomes president, I think we're going to see a vice president take over. I mean, obviously, it's going to be either one of them. There's not going to be a third person that comes in, but we're going to have a vice president become president.
No, we'll have a civil war before we have a vice president become president.
That's true.
Trust me.
That's true.
What else? What else do we want to cover today, guys? I'm trying to think of the
Well,
other topics.
we've got a draft. We've got a draft coming up.
Oh yes. Who wants to be in our draft this year in our fantasy football league? We obviously, as a matter of fact, just remind everyone for one quick second what we're talking about here. Last year we played in the fantasy.
Forgot about the turd.
The turd right over here. And so we want to have another one, and we want to make it special again. So if you're interested in being in the fantasy football league this year, please contact Brenton.
I don't know if I got locked out of the Instagram. That's why we haven't posted in what has it been, a year-ish?
Yep.
I'll try to get back in there, but just DM my personal and give me a good reason why you should be in the league, and I'll read them on the next podcast, and we will make some selections.
What's your personal? Oh, your personal. I thought you meant your personal email.
No, shoot me a DM on Instagram at BB Combs.
At BB Combs, hit him up. Let him know if you want to be in the league this year. If you were in it last year, if you want to come back, you're welcome. Let us know. If you weren't in it and you want to be in it this year, also let them know. We're gonna see how many people are interested and go from there. So go ahead, Lucas.
You unmuted and then muted yourself immediately.
Perfect.
Did we talk about the Tim Anderson fight?
No, we haven't.
That was the best fight of Saturday.
It was actually. It was. What I don't know is I've seen the fight. What was it? Did he think it was a dirty slide? You know what happened previous to that? Was it just that one moment?
I think it took like a little. Ramirez thought, I don't know, that like he hovered over him for like an extra half second. It felt like such a small slight, for such a big fight.
And then Ramirez just sort of, they jawed at each other. But Anderson was the one that squared up first. If I'm remembering correctly?
Right? Yes.
Yeah, dude. And look, I don't fuck around with Latino middle infielders. You just don't. Rudiger or Door. It's like, and this guy Ramirez. It's like these guys. This is not the first time this has happened. Tim Anderson, he's like a fake tough guy, and he got fucking, he got hit hard, and then watching him try to get off the field. Like looking back, like where is he? Is he still over there? I might want to go fight him again, but like also stumbling was hilarious because he got like knocked out for a little bit, not like cold, but he was like stumbling. Did you see it, Brenton?
No.
Are we able to pull it up?
Yeah, I'll find it here. Apparently, I'm reading it right now. Ramirez felt that he tagged him a little too hard with his glove. So that feels even more petty.
I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't slide into you.
Hey
He didn't
man,
hit you unless he hit him in the head or hit him in the crotch.
what I don't care what's like really like if it was talking and talk like just the talking back and forth, but like Anderson is the one that was like squared up for like obviously was like I want to fight you, and then that's when Ramirez is like, well, now we're going to fight, and when you can, I don't know if you can see it yet, but they threw a couple punches, and then it was a wild overhand right Ramirez threw, and it landed right on the jaw of Tim Anderson, and he went down. And then as soon as he went down, everybody else, breaks it up. But Anderson trying to get off the field was very funny because he was doing that whole thing where it looked like teammates were holding him back, but okay. Let's see it.
Doesn't
So
look like that hard of a tag.
okay, there it is. Push. You take the glove off. Boom.
Oh, okay.
The overhand right.
That's embarrassing. He
Yeah,
squared
dude.
up like I know how to do this and then immediately fell.
Yeah. So
That was
look,
not
he
a
caught him on
hard
the
that's not a
head for
hard
second.
tag. Come on.
No, not at all, really.
So Ramirez said
But
something that probably wasn't appropriate right there.
yep,
And
dude. And then that's it.
yeah.
Tim Anderson, boom.
My favorite part though is the umpire. He tries to break it up for a second,
And then he's like, "No, I'm not getting in the middle of this
gloves.
thing."
He's like, "Go at
Yep.
it."
Oh, you guys are on your own now. Here we
He's
go. Now the
paid
glove.
pretty well, but not
See, now
that
he was the
well.
first one. Here we go. And right, this is the one he's got to watch. He doesn't have the hand up, and then blup.
Okay, so Anderson missed 3 times, 3 strikes
Yep.
are out. What's his batting average this year? Because that guy's hand-eye coordination is definitely
Well,
off.
he never threw his left, and he never kept it up, so that was the problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't watch the Jake Paul fight. Did you watch the Jake Paul fight?
Yeah, it was okay. Went the,
I mean,
went the distance. They're gonna fight again.
They're gonna fight again.
Of course, they probably made enough money.
They might do MMA based off of the post-fight interviews.
How much money did they make?
Oh, I'm sure so much.
Yeah.
But like it looked like Diaz really wasn't in shape. Like it didn't look like he looked like Ben Askren when he tried to fight him. Like he had a gut. Like I think these MMA guys are just like this is like a week off for them.
Yeah, when is Jake Paul going to fight a boxer? When is he going to box a boxer?
Yeah, it's a difference between like when you're shooting a special and like doing a 15-minute spot on a friend's.
Yeah.
You're like,
so,
when you're shooting a special, you're like, I know everything I want to do. I know everything I want to go. And when you're like going to do a 15-minute spot on like a Tuesday, you're like, well, let's just,
let's see what happens.
I know what I want to work on, but like, let's see what happens when I get out there. I think that's how these guys take these things, and that's what happens.
I mean, I will pay Jake Paul to watch him box when he boxes a boxer, because then we'll actually see if he's legit or not.
Well, he lost to Tommy Fury, and I don't even consider Tommy Fury really like a boxer. Like,
yeah, I want to see a boxer.
Like,
get Floyd Mayweather out of retirement. I'll watch that, even though he's 50.
Like, yeah. What I want to know is like Jake Paul is obviously going to fight at heavyweight, right? Is that what he's always fought at, or like 170? Like, what is the weight class of that, right? And then like, where are the contenders in that weight class? And then obviously not the champion, but like, why doesn't like the third or fourth best guy in that weight class go, let me knock you the fuck out so we can stop hearing about
Paul
this.
Doesn't want to be knocked the fuck out.
Exactly. So that's really the next thing. Now I look, he picks interesting people, and whatever. But it's still like Dylan Dennis is going to fight his brother in a couple months in England. And it's like, yeah, I follow Dylan Dennis, and he's a tough guy. He fights with, trains with Conor McGregor and stuff. But it's like, I have a feeling that this guy's probably going to do the same thing that these MMA guys do. It's like not take it as seriously, not train as hard as they would for an MMA fight, because it's really only in their minds half of the work of what they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, they end up getting fucking whooped a little bit. because it doesn't mean it doesn't mean like you only have to do half the work. It only means you have half of your powers to use. So you've got to strengthen that half. You've got to really put everything you have into that one half, to that striking half. Because if you don't, you're going to look tired, and you're going to get beat up, and you're going to lose a decision. This guy has got a chin, so it's not like you can just sit there and just with one punch, the first big punch you throw. This guy can take a punch. So you have to fucking put combinations together. You have to put power punches together, and professional boxers do that all the time. So yeah, that's when it'll be interesting. But for right now, it's like, who gives a fuck? What'd you say about Ryan Tannehill too? Did we talk about that already or no?
We didn't talk about Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, what happened? You told me about Ryan Tannehill. What? Not Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't tell
the
you.
other Ryan.
Okay, so
Ryan Tannehill 2.0.
Yeah, apparently Kyle Shanahan was in contact with Phillip Rivers the entirety of last season, and the plan was, if they had advanced to the Super Bowl, and this was reported by Adam Schefter, I think he put the link up to the full story on Twitter, or excuse me, X. Had they advanced to the Super Bowl, it's X. Oh yeah, you're off X. You have no idea what's going on. Elon Musk made it X.
I never took
It's called X. It's called X.
I took ecstasy one time in college.
Apparently, X Videos is going to sue X, and up in San Francisco at the headquarters, they put a giant light up X on the top of the building, which now I think the city might be suing them because that's against like safety codes. But it's now called. Wait.
So wait, what do you?
Called X. We don't retweet, we repost. We don't tweet, we post. And it's very cool and hip and new and different, even though it's he just rebranded.
You don't tweet, you just post.
Yes.
So you say like, I posted, and you're supposed to know like on what? X.
On X.
It's X.
Yes. Anyway.
What are you doing right now? I'm on X.
So all that aside, that's all just silly noise. But so he was talking to Phillip Rivers the whole season, and when Brock Purdy went down, the plan all along was, if we advance, however far we advance, and in this case it would have been the Super Bowl, Phillip Rivers would have been the starting quarterback that next week. So he could have come out of retirement just to play in the Super Bowl, according to Schefter, which would have been kind of interesting. I mean, it would have been a bloodbath, but it would have been kind of fun too.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle Shanahan should keep his number on held, because I feel like he's runs through quarterbacks pretty quickly over there.
Yeah, and running backs. Everybody gets hurt through him. I mean, Jesus. Jerry
Rice was like, how many times are we going to send a playmaker down fucking a tunnel of killers? There's only so many times you can have that happen where it's, you got to get out the other end unscathed. Yeah, Phillip Rivers, he would be great this year because he pumped in another baby into his wife. So he's got, she's got her job to do, and now he has his job to do, back to football. So, and in 9 months, the two shall meet again and pump out another fucking kid. Kyle Shanahan, who do you think, let's make it early, Coach of the Year, NFC, Coach of the Year, AFC, go. Because Shanahan, to me, is my NFC Coach of the Year. I think they win the division, because I think that division is going to be bad this year, except for Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle's going to be decent. I would probably go, if the Lions live up to their hype and they do make the playoffs, I think it goes to Dan Campbell.
Okay.
And in the AFC, I have to stick with the Broncos, and it goes to Sean Payton. They already love him. Whoever votes on it, he's already a very popular coach. And if he takes a team that was very, very bad with a quarterback that everyone said, oh, he's done, and turns them into, oh, wow, they're winning the division and they're winning in the playoffs, then I think Sean Payton's a layup for AFC.
Yeah, I don't know AFC. AFC is going to be so fucking tough, dude. AFC is going to be so tough. I'm almost thinking of like a who won last year? Was it the Jaguars coach? Was it who won the AFC Coach of the Year last year? Or was it? You're muted again.
Yeah, it's just one award. It's Brian Dable.
It was Doug Peterson in the AFC.
Oh, they do they separate it?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, so Doug Peterson is the Jaguars coach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, who's gonna be the fucking Jaguars of the AFC this year?
I think it's going
It
to
could be.
be. Look, the other reason why I think it's going to be the Broncos is I think the Chiefs are still going to be a very elite team unless something happens to Mahomes or something happens to Kelsey, who's getting older and at some point will
Yep.
start declining as well because their defense isn't that great. They're middle of the road defense. So if something was to happen to one of those two major pieces on offense, now you might have some issues and there's an opportunity for other teams to kind of go in and beat them. The Raiders are going to be absolutely awful. Sorry to all our Raider fans out there, but you know that it's just not going to be good. And then I like the Chargers. I think the Chargers have a chance to be a very good team. But the Broncos have all those pieces there. So it's going to come down to probably the Broncos and the Chargers in that division. And the Chiefs will still contend and still go to the playoffs and be a very hard out, and they could go back to the Super Bowl. But I think as far as the division, it's going to be one of those two. And then with the AFC North, like it's just so fucking tough. I think all four of those teams could split with each other and just beat the crap out of each other. So the records aren't going to be as good. So I think it comes out of the AFC West where it's either the Chargers or the Broncos because they beat Mahomes and because they beat the Chiefs. That coach will be coach of the year.
Yeah, I mean, or one of those AFC, what is it, Central, the Pittsburgh one, goes on a run and actually beats the other three hard teams maybe once, twice each, and then they go, obviously, this person's the coach of the year.
If they can do that, sure.
Speaking of coaches and GMs, and who do you think, and this is a tough one for me, who do you think is in the right, and who do you think wins this Zach Martin, Dallas Cowboys standoff?
I mean,
The dilemma is this. If I'm Zach Martin, you know that you're the best lineman still in the NFL, right? You want to be paid more. You want to get that top dollar. You're going to hold out, and you understand, you're important to the team. But for the first time, I'm like, Jerry Jones has got a point that when he signed him 2 or 3 years ago, he made him the highest paid offensive lineman. He paid him what he was worth at the time. And because the market has changed now, I'm sorry, you can't come back and ask for more. That's the way it is. It's, the value of that. And so I sort of understand the position. If Jerry Jones does and probably wants to give him more money, but then it sets a precedent for other guys to come back, 2 or 3 years and then rip up contracts, and it becomes an issue. But I'm always on the side of these guys trying to make as much money as they possibly can, because the owners have their entire lives and their families' lives and generations to make money. These guys have, their careers, and how long are they?
5-6 years,
So,
maybe.
I root for Zach Martin, but I feel like it's going to be a losing cause in the vein of the SAG.
Yeah, I think we're all cheering for
Guild.
Zach Martin, and he deserves it. But Jerry Jones is in the right. You signed this contract. I made you the highest paid, and this is ridiculous to come back every year. I mean, maybe they can figure out some kind of bonus structure and add that into his contract. Do X amount, play X amount of snaps, don't allow X amount of sacks, and we'll kick you a bonus. But to ask for a whole new contract is kind of ridiculous. And if you don't like the contract you signed, then maybe you need to look at your agent and go, what the fuck?
I mean, I don't know how now you ask for, you probably have to ask for X plus, like 11 million a year or highest paid, in the league or something like that. So, it's going to have to be a new rework, the way they do contracts, if you want to make both sides happy without getting into these issues every couple of years. But this is the first time I was like, damn, I kind of understand Jerry Jones's point of view.
They don't have the money to spend. They got to bring Ezekiel Elliott back for way too much.
I don't know what are they thinking? They're going to really do that?
Potentially. I mean, he's either going to be a Patriot or he's going back to the Cowboys. That's probably what's going to happen, because Belichick, like, he has Stevenson, but he likes having kind of that bigger, I'll put you in at the goal line back. And so that's why Fournette worked out there too. Either one of those guys fits that system where it's like, yeah, you're not going to play 3 downs, but we'll rotate you in for like 12 plays a game and you'll get 4 or 5 carries and score a touchdown or 2 and get like 12 yards. So Zeke actually really makes sense in that offense.
But how much money?
Not much. They wouldn't have to sign him to too much. I mean, he'll get probably 2-3 million for a 1-year contract, and it might not all be guaranteed.
Does Jonathan Taylor play a snap this year?
Well, it was getting interesting when Kareem Hunt went and worked out, because if they had signed Kareem Hunt, that would have been Irsay drawing the line in the sand, going, okay.
I choose the Whales.
Yeah, because they could easily just let him sit, and that team, the way they are, Jonathan Taylor is one of the best backs in the league, but they're not going to be contending most likely, especially with a rookie quarterback. So we can get Kareem Hunt in here in 1 year, have you sit or trade you, and we don't give a fuck. We don't need to pay you, and we're playing for next year and the year after that.
Yeah, the owner back and forth thing is very interesting with these holdouts. And again, it literally depends. It's day to day. Everyone's situations and the power structure changes. Tomorrow, Tony Pollard, God forbid, could get hurt. And next thing you know, it's like, well, Zeke, please come back.
Yeah.
That's literally how these things happen.
As a Bills fan, as long as Dalvin Cook doesn't sign with Miami, I'll be happy. If he signs with Miami, I think Miami becomes the best team in that division.
Speaking of running backs, why did they not cover Dalvin Cook on the Hard Knocks? Do you think it's only because he hasn't signed with them yet?
I don't think he's going to at this point. I really think
that's all people
Miami's back on the table. Buffalo's technically back on the table because he wouldn't mind playing with his brother, and we lost Nyheim Hines to a tragic jet ski accident. I mean, Jesus Christ, not even on the field, a fucking jet ski.
Jet skis, bro. Even Kenny Powers can ride a jet ski without getting hurt. Yeah, no, it's
so there is a need. Buffalo and Damian Harris, he was wearing a knee brace and missed a couple practices. So Buffalo is basically down to James Cook and some practice squad guys. So Dalvin could potentially go to Buffalo, but I think he's trying to drive up his price by dragging this out, and he's really waiting for somebody in these preseason games to go down, and then that team will be like, okay, yeah, please. That's what he's waiting for. Josh Jacobs, I don't think he sits out the season, but
it's a lot of money to give up.
Yeah, he's got to just take
historically,
that franchise.
It does not work.
No, it doesn't. So I think he'll come back. But Jonathan Taylor, he's young enough. He could potentially sit out, and Irsay is kind of an asshole. So I don't think either one's going to budge. That's very, very interesting, that situation. But yeah, Zeke will go somewhere in the next week or so. But I think if it's not the Cowboys, it'll be the Patriots, unless something with news with like Jonathan Taylor or Josh Jacobs comes out, and then those teams are desperate.
It's interesting. I like it. It's the pot is starting to boil. It's all coming together.
Yeah.
It's happening, guys. The meal that is the NFL is being prepared, and it's exciting. I feel like this year is going to be very exciting. I'm very happy. Like last year, I was like, obviously still on the Giants. Like, what do we got? What is this going to be? How is this? And now I'm like, I'm not like over excited where I'm like, we're going to win the Super Bowl, but I'm like, I feel like we can be a competitive team, build upon what we had last year. So that my worries for that are less this year. So I'm kind of enjoying the whole thing as a whole.
And Buffalo hosts the Giants this season. I forget which week, but Dable going back to Buffalo. That's going to be a fun game.
What, do you know what time of year it is, or has it got to be winter? Horrible winter.
I think it's October, November-ish.
Oh, okay. Maybe not bad. All right. Anything else we got to cover, guys? I'm trying to remember if there was anything else.
How about the Orioles suspending their broadcaster for basically reciting?
They were bad?
Yeah, reciting the truth. Here are the actual stats.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, what a bizarre world where North Korea is opening up their borders, bringing people into their lovely ski resorts and golf courses, and we are suspending broadcasters for reciting. We've lost to the Rays 3 out of the last however many series, and that gets you fired. or I should
But,
say
I mean,
suspended.
yeah,
They're apparently
suspended.
bringing him back, but it's the most ridiculous fucking thing ever.
Well, I mean, it was a back. I think the Orioles, fan base was like, "What are you guys doing?" The guy. I mean, what do you think? You're trying to hide the fact that we're a bad team? We
They
know we're a bad
sat
team.
through
That's
it.
why
They
we're so
were
excited right now.
giving you money. You're having this
It
magical
wasn't like the guy was
season.
like, "Hey guys, just remember, like, even though we're pretty good right now, we probably still suck because look what we did the last." It wasn't.
Yeah.
He was like, "Guys, we're out of the woods. This is great. As an organization, look how far we've come."
Yeah. I didn't understand that at all. It was so weird.
Rich cunts don't want to hear the truth. They don't want the truth broadcasted. They don't want anyone to know the truth. They want you to know what they want you to know. Okay? And you can't control this fucking guy. This guy's a wild card. I mean, Phil Rizzuto didn't even talk about the team. The 80s, the Yankees were so bad. He never even talked baseball. I didn't even know. I knew about restaurants. How I learned about restaurants in New York, no joke, Italian restaurants in New York, is because Phil Rizzuto would spend 3 to 4 innings talking about the meal he ate the night before, where it was, who served him, the antipasto they had. They come back from an inning. They go right back into it. They would go right back into the meal. There was no, because the team was bad. It was Wayne Tollison. And Don Mattingly was the only thing, like they tried, like Don Mattingly getting his hair cut was the biggest deal. And this Huckleberry's got to cut his hair. That's the only thing that Phil Rizzuto ever weighed in on that. Other than that, it was about what he ate and where he went. So this poor guy is out there telling the truth and he gets fucking canned for it. It's ridiculous.
He sat through all of those games and suffered as a fan, I'm sure, of the team. And finally he gets to enjoy it, and he's just reflecting on, look at this, look at what this is probably one of the most magical seasons that organization's ever had. And if you're a casual fan, like, if anything, that helps sell tickets, that helps sell jerseys. Like, we're good now.
I'm going to be in Baltimore in a week and a half, 2 weeks. Joan is going down to play at Ripken, which is in Aberdeen, which is like a half hour from Baltimore. So it's a big complex that they do travel baseball down there. So we're going to be there. We're going to go to an Orioles game. I'll swing by the booth, see if the guy's interested in coming on the pod, and we can tell him about how, we thought it was bullshit that he got fired for a little bit. Yeah. So, we'll see what happens. Anything else, fellas? I think that's it for me for the week. We'll get to Brenton about the draft if you're interested in that. Because we're going to start setting that up pretty soon, and then once we get everyone together and figure out who's going to be in it, we'll figure out when the date's going to be, the draft, and obviously we do it usually on the podcast. So
we'll probably do it the Wednesday before the opener.
Okay, what is that? The 4th or the 5th or something like that?
I don't have the
whatever. It's the first week of September.
It'll be the first Wednesday of September.
When all the other fucking drafts are. Okay. And speaking of drafts,
should be. I don't like drafting early because then everybody gets hurt.
I've done a lot of cameos. Before. And by the way, I'm still available for cameo. Brenton, can we get a one shot on me, please? Brenton? Just a single shot on me.
Okay.
Perfect. And perfect. And perfect. Okay. I am available for cameo. If you're interested in setting your league's draft order, I'm available. I got a great way I'm doing it this year. I'm not going to tell you how right now, but send me a request via cameo. I'll get it done in a day or two. You can have it right back and get your league started for the season. So come to me with your cameo requests. I'm available.
Don't pause so long.
Cheap plug for myself. Come to me. Come for me. Come for me on Cameo. I'll come for you on Cameo. How about that? Send me a request and I'll come.
That's how you decide the draft order.
I will. Yeah, whoever name I come on first. That's the first pick in the draft. That's it. All right, that's it, guys. We're done. This is enough bullshit. Thank you for listening. Enjoy your summer. I'm having a great summer. A lot of golf, a lot of pool time. We went to see the Pink concert last week. That was fun, by the way.
We went to Taylor Swift
under my belt. Taylor Swift. The Swifties were out.
Saw the Eras tour.
We're all on Taylor Swift. We're all on tour with Taylor Swift. The entire fucking world is on. All that's in my feed is Taylor Swift. So we're all there.
Yeah.
I saw Cassie's thing. She was so beautiful.
I will never
30
make her
seconds.
as happy as that concert made her.
I did the same thing for my wife with Pink. Pink flung around Citi Field. She, on the string, she flew right by us like Tinkerbell. Tracy was so happy. She was dancing around. That's it, dude. We live to make our ladies happy. Okay. Yeah. And I live to come on Cameo. So check me out, Cameo. Hitting the road again next month and September 21st weekend. I'll be in Salt Lake City. Wise Guys, one of the best comedy clubs in the country. Get your tickets now. They're on sale. And then the rest of my tour dates are on steverenazizi.com. Got Skankfest. I'm going to DC. I'm going to Chicago, Las Vegas. And then I'm going on a little 2-week tour with Shafir through the Midwest. So steverenazizi.com for tickets and come check me out. Anything else you guys want to plug? Let them know. You guys going to be doing anything you want?
No, hit me up. Join the league.
Join the league. And we'll check you guys next week. All right. Peace.
Go Bills.
Bills.
Thank you very much for joining me. How you been? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Steve Renazizi.